Hello, take a walk with me and we can discuss my thoughts about our ongoing preparing for retirement. See what you guys think about it. So the last video we did, or I did, was pretty close to the ocean, and it was really loud, and my computer is broken at the moment. It has a loose part, so it keeps turning off. And my husband is handy dandy and a tech guy. He just hasn't gotten to it yet. So he's going to. When he does, it'll be easier to walk down by the water. But in the meantime, I thought, well, what if I walked alongside the water? You can see right now how busy that road is, A18. It's always busy now. So, my thoughts the last few days. I have been watching YouTube. I've been seeing more and more people that are thinking the same things. Good old FedEx. Thinking the same things that I'm thinking, wondering the same things that I'm wondering. You know, I am a old member of the Gen X generation. I was born in 66. Gen X starts in 65. And I'm just tired. A lot of us in Generation X, we started working at a very young age. I did work 3 jobs all through college, to the point where my mom thought that I was going to make myself sick. Newsflash, I did not. I was able to pay for college, with the exception of a very small loan that I paid off in the first couple of years. And so now I look back on things and I think I'm just really tired. I'm going to be 58 this year. I've worked a very long time. I've been frugal. I have been ever so careful with my money. And I think it's time. I think it's time for us to think about the next phase of our life. So, as I said, I'm an old Gen Xer. My husband is a young boomer. He was born in 1962, which is the end of the boomer generation, towards the end. And he's already retired. We've already faced health scares. He was diagnosed with cancer. We found it early, and he was able to beat it. It's the same cancer that took his father. So that was a difficult season for us. You know, your fears come out to play. But he is fine, and he's actually very healthy except for that. So what I'm thinking about is, what am I really working for? If I've already run the numbers and I have a fairly good idea of what we're going to spend, why am I still working? What am I working for? We'll be able to leave something to my kids, most probably, unless there is a complete 100% catastrophe. Let's go down this neighborhood. Unless there's a complete 100% catastrophe in the market that goes on for 2 decades, in which case we won't leave them much of anything. And honestly, that's okay. That's all right. As much as you want to bless your kids, you only can do what you can do. So, you know, I'm not expecting anything. And my husband has lost both parents, and he didn't get an inheritance, and we're okay. We're all right. So it'll be okay. So I guess, my thoughts are, it's so interesting. I watch these videos on YouTube, and I see people maybe where I was a year ago, and they're just putting it out there, which I got a lot of respect for that. Let's see what's going on down here. More building. Building, building, building. God forbid we have a stretch of open land. Anyway. So there may be where I was a year or so ago. And that was... Okay, let's start. So about 10 years ago, I was really seriously thinking about going to Bali. So I was thinking about it 10 years ago. But I hadn't put any work into it. I hadn't done any research. I hadn't gotten online to see, how much does it cost to stay in Bali? How much does it cost to fly to Bali? How much does it cost to eat in Bali? How much is healthcare in Bali? I'd done none of that. I just kind of thrown the idea up there to see how my husband felt. Well, he pretty much considered me to be crazy, and we just kind of moved on from there. So fast forward now to today, a year ago, and I started really doing the numbers. I started looking at different places that we would want to go to. I joined Facebook groups for various locations in Thailand. I joined Facebook groups for Malaysia, for all kinds of different places that we wanted to go to. I started getting on Numbeo and just checking to see if the prices lined up with what I saw online. And that is a great site. If you've never used it and you're interested in traveling and living abroad, go to Numbeo. www.numbeo.com. You can compare the costs in your city or a nearby city with the costs in an overseas city. And it will tell you exactly what you're looking for living costs. It's a very, very handy source. And it's crowdsourced, so you can make any corrections that you need to make as well. So, anyway, so I start watching these people, and I'm thinking, this is where it begins. This is where it begins. You have to start doing the research. You have to start looking things up. You have to start making a plan. You have to start getting your expense estimates together. So that's what I did. I took a look at what our expenses are now. Our expenses are somewhere in the neighborhood, depending on renovations for our house, but somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $3,600 a month. And most of that is associated with our home or things that will go away when we move, like car insurance, things like that. We're not going to get a car anywhere else. So once I take that out, now I'm kind of left with a blank slate. I'm kind of left with, okay, well, how much are groceries in, let's just say, Malaysia? How much are groceries in Malaysia? How much is rent for a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in Malaysia? How much is how much are utilities in Malaysia? How much is it to, I don't know, get an Uber? What you see here, I know you see piles on the side of the road. This is leftover from Hurricane Milton. They haven't come around to get the trash yet. The county hasn't. So we've still got piles. So anyway, so you start looking at, okay, what country do I want to live in? And how much is it going to cost me for groceries? Well, okay, so my husband and I, in the United States, we have about $650, let's turn around, $650 to $700 a month for groceries. That's what I've estimated based on what we spend. We only eat 2 meals a day in general, and we don't buy junk food. We only buy ingredients, and I also garden, so it keeps it down. So that $6.50 in the U.S., what is that going to cost us in Malaysia? Well, our groceries are probably going to be in the neighborhood of $300 to $400 a month. Now, look at your entertainment. If you go out to dinner and it costs for 2 people plus 1 drink each, say it costs you $100, and that is not lowballing it today, people. $100. You can get a wonderful meal at a medium quality restaurant, not like highbrow, because they have highbrow there, and not your neighborhood place where most of the Malaysians go. But if you go to a medium tier restaurant, you can probably get that meal plus a drink each for I don't know, maybe $15, $20 total. Now, if you go where the people from that country go and you eat there, you eat the local food, you're probably going to spend less than $10. So you're talking about a tremendous difference in cost of living. Let's talk about housing. Say that I am in Kuala Lumpur, which is a huge city, one of the biggest cities in the world, and I want to be in a nice place. I don't have to be in the best place, but I want to be in a nice place and rent a 1-bedroom apartment because it's just my husband and I. I can get a really nice 1-bedroom apartment for less than $700 a month. That's really nice. That's Western style. Probably near a metro station. I forget what they call their metro there. But in Thailand it's the BT. But you can be near it. And then that puts you, with their train systems there, that puts you right close to anything you'd ever want. They've got groceries locally. They've got, their medicine is some of the best in the world. Medical treatments. So you start to actually look up these amounts and you can fill in your expenses and see how much you need. So what did we settle on? Well, after looking at everything and then calculating that we'll have to use, we can use our credit cards with points for some of the airplane tickets, but not all of them. And then also planning to travel within regions, so you're not bobbing back and forth all over the world, and that's where you get your high ticket prices. You're looking at easily being able to afford this type of lifestyle in Southeast Asia for $4,000 a month. Easily. I've heard people say that you can do it, and they are doing it, for less than $3,000 a month in Southeast Asia. I've heard, I don't know how many people say they do it in Vietnam alone for less than $2,000 a month. So that's what you need to do. If you can't get out there and you can't get your so-called boots on the ground, then you really need to dig into these sites. You need to go on apartment hunting sites for these countries. You can translate them to English. If Google is your browser of choice, there's always an offer. They ask you up at the top, do you want to translate this? And you can translate it. And I don't know if the translation is perfect because I don't speak Malay, but you can see the prices. You can see the prices in whatever currency you need to see them in. So if you are like me, and if you are realizing that living in the United States on Social Security is really not something that you want to do, and you want to have some adventure in your life, and you want to explore other cultures, then I suggest you get out there. Get out there and look at what it's going to cost. Actually do a future budget for yourself in today's dollars and figure out, what will it cost? What will it cost me? Go look at some of the restaurants. Some of them have menus in English, especially Malaysia. Malaysia's second language of the country is in English. They teach English in school. So virtually everyone speaks English in Malaysia. That may be a bit of a generalization, but it's much more, I believe, than any other country in Asia. So again, if you are interested in slow travel, if you're interested in retirement travel, if you are interested in just living your life overseas, and maybe you get a residency, maybe you apply for citizenship somewhere, you really need to do your research. So, my number one suggestion is Numbeo.com or Numbeo.com, however you want to pronounce that. My number two suggestion is to go on the Facebook groups. And I'm sorry for the camera moving around. It is really, really bright out here. And so I'm wearing my sunglasses, and so all I see is a black screen. So here's hoping you guys are getting a good video. Okay, so my number two suggestion is to go on Facebook groups and see what's out there. Go on groups for various countries. I'm on one, for example, since we're traveling to Chiang Mai, Thailand for a month in the spring to try it out, which I'll talk about that in a future video, but I'm in a Facebook group called Houses for Rent for Less Than 10,000 Baht per month. That's the name of a Facebook group. Chiang Mai Houses for Rent, less than 10,000 baht. That's about $280 a month. And you would be surprised at how many posts there are every day. Beautiful apartments, houses. They're for sale. Not for sale, they're for rent, for long-term rent. So, these resources are there for you. Some of those might be fictitious, but it's just as easy to go out. There are several rental sites similar to like a realtor.com, where you go out, you put your country, you can put your maximum you want to spend, just put whatever data in there, and it will give you results. And you would not believe how many places there are. And it is so safe in Asia. It is so safe in Thailand. Very, very safe. One of the safest countries in the world. So that's number two, is Facebook groups. And number three is actually the rental sites that I just mentioned. Airbnb, Agoda is another one. Agoda.com shows you hotel deals. I went on Agoda for our Thailand trip. We're going to be up in Chiang Mai for an entire month. And our hotel, with, I think it's 8.5 out of 10 rating. Our hotel is a Thai hotel, really charming place, right in the old city where you want to be. And the whole month is costing us, with taxes included, $570. $570 accommodation for the month. So that's what I'm talking about, folks. So go and get these numbers. Go out and research these numbers. And when you have these numbers, you can put them into your spreadsheets. You can put them into your financial software. And you will see that it's doable. You'll be able to see what your expenses will be. Let's just put it that way. You'll be able to see what your expenses will be. And that gives you something to shoot for. Then you can figure out, how much do I really need to have? And when can I retire? So I hope that helped. And again, I hope this video is not going to make everybody sick. very new YouTuber. I don't have a GoPro, and apparently now I don't have my editing software. So anyway, we'll talk. But have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.